Good morning or good afternoon, class. I guess it's probably afternoon here. I apologize for the dogs you'll hear in the background. I've got the washer and the dryer going, the dishwasher going, the dog's barking. There should be a cat that walks a few minutes across the screen. So I'm glad to be with you all again. I had looked on YouTube and found a video where someone with a British or maybe a Scottish, maybe Northern English accent was going through a Latin lesson on conjugations with some things on some visuals. So I could do something like that, and I want you to let me know if you need some help in addition to what I talk about. I'm concerned that some of you did not get the document that I sent. I have information that I will send to you in an email that you'll probably actually read before you get this about how to access your Truett email. And that's going to help us a lot. Then we won't have trouble getting the documents to and fro and so forth. I feel paralyzed as a teacher, and this would be true if I were teaching a history class too. I feel paralyzed without my whiteboard and my markers. I would really rather have a chalkboard. That's how old I am, but I'd really rather have that. So I'm really going to have to take you through a description of material that's in your book. And I can type all this up in a lecture. That's really what I want to do. So you have a visual to accompany, and I'll try to do that. Um, but I thought if you would get your book out with me today and let me see if I can take you through this. And again, I want to reassure you, if there's something that you do not understand, I want you to let me know. Send me an email. We can even talk. We can even talk. We can FaceTime. We can talk on the phone. We can do whatever you like. Um, if there's something you don't understand, I want you to let me know, and I will find a way to better communicate it to you. And, and if I don't communicate it to you effectively before you get back, we will learn it when you get back. So as long as you're working and I'm working, I'm not worried. And you say, well, Ms. Justice, that's easy for you to say. It's not your grade. You know, your grade is not going to be impacted by this delay. So don't you worry about that. Just don't even worry about it. I will say something that I don't know if it's going to make sense to you or you're going to go, Ms. Justice, that's nuts. But I want you to look at this not so much as a grade or fulfilling a requirement for your check sheet for graduation or entrance into another school. I want you to look at Latin in a way that I did not for a long time. And that is, it is an accomplishment. It is, and so would Spanish, and so would French, and Chinese, all those would be accomplishments as well. But Latin is really an accomplishment. It's a feat. It's an achievement that used to be something that was basic, and now we've abandoned it. And even my husband refers to it as a dead language. It's not a dead language. It's a parent language. And if any of you are interested remotely in history or in English or in literature or in grammar, anything in the humanities like that, music and even the sciences, Latin has a position. It has a place. It's a place of honor. It is a major part of our language. Even though we are technically speaking English, we are a language with a Germanic parent. There's so much of our vocabulary and grammar that we have to credit the ancient Romans for. And it's an accomplishment. And I really don't know how to explain it better than that. I stumbled into Latin myself. I thought I was going to take a third year of Spanish, and because of a music course that I had to take that I couldn't, they stuck me in Latin. I'm like, what am I doing in here in high school? And that was 1977, back when your great grandparents were here. So, and I thought, what am I doing here? Well, I took 2 years of Latin in high school, and then in college, throughout my undergraduate and graduate work, I continued in Latin in different fields, but Latin was my language. And my graduate degree is in history, and it's another one of those things people go, history, what? But it means so much to me, and I don't know how to explain that. But the Latin is the same way. And sometimes there's some value in just possessing knowledge about something. And I hope that this class becomes more to you than just something to check off. I hope that I can teach it in such a way that you enjoy it and you want to take more with a better professor than me once you get into college, wherever you're going, and that you feel that you have accomplished something. So, keep that in mind. I know we're all grade driven for financial aid purposes and Hope Scholarship purposes and things like that. But I also want you to cultivate, and you may have this already, I want you to cultivate a love for learning. And um, Dr. Justice and I talk about, my husband, who's Dean of the Humanities at Truett, we talk about this. When we were in school, we actually took extra classes that weren't on our check sheet. And now, as I advise students, and I've been teaching college students for over 25 years, as I advise students, oh, I don't want to have to take that. I don't want to take anything extra. I'm not going to take anything extra. They don't want to. Even if it's something they are interested in, they don't want to do it. And I understand finances, and that's an issue. But I really want to say to them, indulge that love for learning. If you can take an extra class in an area that you're interested in, do it. Love your learning, love acquiring information, and just, I guess that's kind of silly. It's not going to be on test, but I think if you and I go into this class, and I'm going to try to have this little lecture with my other group too, if you and I can go into this class with, it's not just something to check off, it's something that we can learn and expand our minds a bit together, it's going to be much more satisfying. So, having said all that, if you would get your textbook out, today what I want to talk about are Latin conjugations. And again, I wish I had a better visual to give you, and I'm going to come up with something that will help you. We're going to talk about paradigms. Paradigms are just little models. They're little a way to set up something, to look at it in an organized and consistent way. And on almost every quiz that you have, you'll have paradigms that you have to memorize. And it's really not that bad. I don't load a whole bunch of them on you at one time. We just sort of pick them up with each chapter as we go along. So the paradigms that you'll learn for chapter 1 are how to conjugate a verb. And to conjugate a verb simply means you take it through its different person and numbers. If you look with me on page 4, they've written out a couple of paradigms for you. They've given you an example of 2 verbs, laudo, laudari, and moneo, moneri. And these 2 verbs each represent their own conjugation. Laudo, laudari is first conjugation, and we know that from your last lecture by knowing that stem vowel is an A. Then moneo, moneri is second conjugation, and we know that because of its its stem vowel is that long E. So I want you to look there on page 4. And they give you all these $10 words, present, indicative, active. All you need to know is it's the present tense. Everything we're doing for the most part, is going to be indicative and active. We'll slip into an imperative in a few minutes, but don't worry about all those $10 terms. What you need to worry about is understanding this is present tense. So if we have the word laudo, laudari, we look at that laudari, we know that it's first conjugation, and we're going to conjugate it like they have done there on that page. They've taken the stem, which is L-A-U-D, and for most of those, the stem vowel, which is an A, and we've added what they call personal endings. See, look at these together with me. Laudo, laudos, laudot, laudamus, laudatus, laudant. Those personal endings, O, S, T, MUS, TIS, and NT, they actually represent the personal pronouns. O, laudo, is I. Laudo, I praise. You can translate it, I am praising, I do praise. Laudos, that S represents a you singular, just one you. You praise. T, laudot, he, she, or it praises. Laudamus, MUS, we praise, first person plural. Laudatus, That's you plural, you all, y'all praise. And then laudant, NT, they praise. So I hope you can see how those endings represent the person and number. The person, first, second, third, number, singular, or plural. Then look at monio, moneri. It's a little bit different, but I think you'll see a pattern show up just like you did with the first one. Monio, it keeps that stem vowel there in the first person. I don't know why first person verbs don't. I don't know why that's not lauda-o instead of laudo. I don't know. But when you see that, it's easy for you to recognize then that it's first person. That it's first conjugation. So monio, mones, monet, monemus, monetus, monent. And you hear my pronunciation of the E change, whether or not that macron is there, that long mark. And don't fret over those macrons. You don't have to remember those. They're helpful for your pronunciation purposes, but I'm not going to fuss at you if you don't have them. But let's translate that. Monio, I advise, I am advising, I do advise. Mones, you advise. Monet, he, she, or it advises. Monemus, we advise. Monetus, you all, y'all advise. And monent, they advise. Do you see that pattern? That's my daughter says pattern. Pattern, you see that? And I want you to practice. This is when you go through this paradigm, it's called conjugating. And I'm going to send in the email to you about this video. I'm going to send you how I set up the paradigm. And then you may set it up like that, or you can set it up the way they have it here. But I'm going to show you what it looks like and what it'll look like on your first quiz. So, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to give everybody a copy of an old first quiz so you can kind of see what's expected of you. I won't always do that, but you will always have, at the very least, a list of exactly what's expected for you on the quiz, and then you may also have sometimes a true typed out study guide. But there'll never be any surprises as to the content of the quiz. At least if you've kept up, it won't be surprised. So one other thing that I want to try to tell you about, if you'll look on onto the page next to that one on page 5. Imperatives are real easy, but they're so easy that sometimes we get hung up on them. It's like our brain can't wrap around something that easy. One of the moods that we talked about, we have indicative, which is plain, ordinary. I see the cat. So that's just plain, ordinary conversation. Use of the verb is the plain, ordinary statement. Imperative has a sense of urgency. And there's see the cat. And when I write out an imperative, I'll put an exclamation mark, just to try to make sure that that urgency is conveyed. But how do we form the imperative? The imperative is very, very easy to create. If you look there on page 5, what I want you to look is, let's look at that together. The imperative mood is used for giving commands, and there's a sense of urgency to it. It's not like just take out the trash. It's take out the trash. So the imperative mood is used for giving commands. The singular imperative is identical to the present stem. It's like if you look at laudari, moneri, amari, take off the re, and you've got the stem. You just take off that re, and there's your imperative singular. So if you're just telling one person to take out the trash, all you have to do is create that vowel to create that correct form, is give you the infinitive, and then take off the re. So they're really easy to form. So you've got the examples there, lauda, and then monet. So if you add the re to those, you're back in the infinitive. So lauda. So that's praise, praise. Lauda Deum. I'm speaking to one person. Praise God. Now here's a tricky part that some of my students get and some don't. If I had a sentence that said praise God like that, What is the subject of that sentence? The subject in that sentence is actually what's called understood you. Because to whom am I speaking? I'm speaking to you, and I'm telling you to do that, you to take that action, you praise God. When you're writing in English for a formal paper, you and I are always taught you never write in first person, but it's considered equally, if not more egregious, to not ever write in second person, much less in something like this. It's also considered sort of a faux pas in writing. So, and in the second person plural is if I'm speaking to a whole bunch of people in the congregation. You all praise God, laudate Deum. So I'm talking to a whole bunch of people. So in the subject is understood y'all. So I hope that gives you a little bit of look at that. And I'm going to set up a paradigm for you. I think I'm just going to send it in an email in case you don't get you're still having trouble with the documents. But so you can see what that looks like. I'd like for you to look with me, if you would, in the back of your book. We're going to do what's called the Bob exercises, B-O-B, in the back of the book. If you would turn to page 413, if you want to pause the video, go to page 413. There's exercises here. I know you can't see them there, but there are exercises here. They're called self-tutorial exercises, and I just call them Bobs because they're in the back of the book. And I think I may have mentioned this to you at some point. I know I've talked to my in-person class about that. You can look behind those pages, and there is the key. These are keys to each of the exercises, and they're helpful if you use them correctly. So if you'll work through some of these in your homework assignment, and I hope I sent you that homework assignment. If I didn't, let me know. I'll pop it over again. I may not have sent it to you. I'm thinking I didn't now. I will try to pop it over to you, and again, we may have some trouble getting the documents to you. If you're still having that trouble, let me know. But in any case, this if you do the back of the book exercises, they're good for you if you'll try to do them and then look at the answers. Don't just copy the answers. Every year I have some who will just copy and run out, and I'm thinking you're just wasting your pencil lead to do that because you're not getting anything out of it. But if you would look with me, let's do some of these together, okay? If you would look with me at the top of page 413, and maybe this will drive home a little bit of some of the things that I've just talked to you about. And if you're thoroughly confused, let me know. Number 1 says, give the English pronoun equivalent to each of the following personal endings. Now, these aren't in any order. They're just kind of in there to see if you can recognize them. If we have that T, and we have it on the end of lauda, it would be laudat. And that means that T represents the he, she, or it. So he, she, or it praises. And then mus represents the pronoun we. O represents the pronoun I. NT represents the pronoun they. S represents the pronoun you, just one you. And then the TIS represents the pronoun you, plural, you all. And I don't care how you communicate you, plural, however you want to do it. You can say y'all, you can say you all, you can say you and then put PL for plural. If we lived up north, it'd be yuns, or I'm sorry, in Tennessee, it's yuns. And there's all kinds of regional expressions of you, plural. But just as long as you can communicate to me that you understand that the TIS is you, plural. Then let's look at the number 2. They ask you to name the following and translate. I'm going to leave the translation up to you. But you've got moneri, wideri, waleri, and deberi. What things do these forms have in common? Well, first of all, they're both which conjugation? Can you tell? You look at that long E, stem vowel, the vowel before the RE, and that tells you that it's second conjugation. And they're also infinitives. Each one of these is an infinitive. So practice translating those if you can and make sure that you can easily identify the conjugation to which it belongs. Then look at number 3. It's the same kind of thing. Wokari, Sirwari, Dari, Kogitari, Laudari, Amari, and Irari. Those represent first conjugation infinitives, to call, and so forth. To make sure you understand that and you could recognize them. Theoretically, I'd like to be able to put 50 words on the board and have 25 infinitives in there, and you be able to pick them out. You might not be able to translate them, but you could say, by golly, I know that that's an infinitive. So think about that. Recognition, how can I say this? I want you to learn to recognize as much as memorize and understand. That's kind of where we want to be. We want to be able to recognize things, memorize things, and then from those two skills to understand. So I'm searching for understanding and how to help you understand. I don't know if you've had classes in your experience, because I sure have, classes in your experience where you memorize for a quiz and then it leaves you because you're such pressure to get all of this under your memory that you're not retaining it, and it's not for long-term learning, and then you're going, I got that right, but I don't know why. So we want to understand to the best of our ability. And again, I'll say this about once every 2 minutes. Ask questions if you don't understand something, because that's what I really want to help you do, is to understand it. One of my little sweethearts, after class, the class you were all in, after class yesterday, came up to me and said, I'm really having trouble wrapping my mind around what you're doing. And I was thrilled to death, not that he felt that way, but I was thrilled to death that he told me. So we spent a couple of minutes. I'm not really sure that I got him where he needed to be, but I'm going to make sure to the best of my ability that I will. And I was very pleased that he would ask. So that's what I want you to do, is to ask me, because what good is it if we just fly through it and check everything off the list? Let's get it to understand it. So, all right, now, again, let's look at number 4. Name the following forms. Do you recognize what those forms are? That's really what I want you to understand. Woka, Serwa, Da, that's a strange looking little one. Kogita, Lauda, Amma, Monet, Wide, Wale. Those are all imperative singulars. We've got that stem. We've taken the RE off of the infinitive. We've got that stem left, and that's our imperative singular. And then look similarly at number 5, Wokate, Serwati, Dati, Kogitate, Laudati, Amate, Moneti, Wideti, Waleti. It's that same thing. You've got the imperative plural. You've got that stem vowel, TE ending. If you're an auditory learner, it may help you to remember and to pronounce it. Instead of saying wokate, say wokate. If that helps you, you understand what I mean? If it helps you, wokate. Number 3, instead of date, say date. If it helps you remember what it looks like. All right. Then number 6, this is where I really want us to see if we can do some. This will be some real translation here. If we can do this, translate the following words. When you look at woka, the first thing you want to do is to figure out, well, what is that? What verb is that from? Well, that's from woko wokari, to call. Then we see that T ending on the end of the stem. And that T tells us that it's third person singular, and it represents the pronoun he, she, or it. So we would translate that as he calls, she calls. Then look at number 2, cogitamus, from cogito, cogitari, to think. So look at that ending there. What's that ending? M-U-S. And what pronoun does that represent? It's we, isn't it? So we think. Amont. Am I in the right place? They've got that one twice, I think. They surely do. Look at number 3, amont. from Amo Amari, to love. NT. What pronoun does that represent? It represents the pronoun they. So they love. So can you do that? Why don't you see if you can work through 4 through 18? Just get your piece of paper out, and this is part of your homework, so you can put it in your homework. I'm going to try to send you that homework assignment. But just work through that and check your answers. And if you don't understand how they get those answers, then you come back to me and let me know. And what I'm going to do in a few minutes after I close this out is I'm going to send you an email. I'm going to try to attach the homework assignment that everybody had. And I'm going to try to send you, what am I saying? I'm going to try to send you the quiz, the model quiz, and I'm going to give that to everybody tomorrow. They're not taking the quiz. This is just an old quiz for you to look and see what it looks like. And then I'm going to, in the email, I'm going to type what a paradigm looks like and sort of what it means. And I want you to let all this sort of settle. And then if you have any questions, I want you to email me as soon as you can. Now, tomorrow is a big teaching day for me. I teach 3 classes in a row, and then my husband and I usually go get a Coke for lunch at the Clipper, and then I come out to White County. So I may not be able to respond to you until I get home, which will be about 3. So if there's an issue and I don't get right back to you tomorrow, don't fret. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And I do encourage you to email me. I want to know how you're doing, how you're feeling, what questions you have about the class, and just let me know. Check in, let me know how you're doing. I enjoy hearing from you. So I guess I'm going to close this for now. I wish I had my board to put this on, but I'll send you a typed on the email, as I say, so I know that'll get to you. And let's just stay in touch, and I look forward to hearing from you. And I hope you're all feeling well and that your families are well. And our family will be praying for you all. So take care, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.